What if I told you there's a country where $600 a month can buy you a life most people only see in fairy tales? A place where ancient Silk Road cities still echo with the footsteps of Marco Polo, where strangers invite you home for dinner before they know your name, and where blue-tiled mosques catch the desert sun like scattered sapphires across a landscape that time forgot. Most people couldn't point to Uzbekistan on a map if their lives depended on it. Tucked away in the heart of Central Asia, this landlocked nation has remained one of the world's best-kept secrets. While Instagram influencers flood Thailand and digital nomads saturate Portugal, Uzbekistan quietly offers something far more authentic: a chance to experience a culture so rich and untouched that every day feels like stepping into a living museum. But this isn't just about ancient history. This is about a modern reality where your monthly rent costs less than a weekend in New York, where fresh bread from a tandoor oven costs pennies, and where the concept of hospitality isn't just a cultural trait, it's a sacred duty. The locals have a saying, "A guest is a blessing from God," and they mean it in ways that will fundamentally change how you think about human connection. The numbers alone should make you curious. While Americans spend an average of $1,200 just on rent, you could live like royalty in Tashkent for half that amount, covering rent, food, utilities, and entertainment. But the real magic happens when you realize that this affordability comes with a cultural richness that money can't buy anywhere else in the world. Uzbekistan sits at the crossroads where East truly meets West, where Persian poetry mingles with Turkic traditions, where Soviet efficiency merges with ancient bazaar commerce, and where Islamic architecture reaches heights of beauty that would make the builders of European cathedrals weep with envy. This is a country where your morning commute might take you through subway stations so ornate they're considered works of art, where your lunch conversation could span 3 languages and 4 centuries of history, and where your evening stroll might lead you through streets that have witnessed the rise and fall of empires. The landscape itself tells stories. Uzbekistan borders 5 countries: Kazakhstan to the north, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan to the east, Afghanistan to the south, and Turkmenistan to the west. But these modern borders are just lines on paper compared to the cultural currents that have flowed through this region for over 2 millennia. This is where the Silk Road wasn't just a trade route. It was the internet of the ancient world, connecting civilizations and spreading ideas, technologies, and traditions that still shape our modern lives. Standing in the Registan Square in Samarkand, you're not just looking at buildings. You're witnessing the dreams of Timur, who once commanded an empire stretching from Turkey to India. The mathematical precision of these Islamic geometric patterns represents knowledge that European scholars wouldn't acquire for centuries. The blue tiles that give these monuments their otherworldly beauty were created using techniques that modern craftsmen still struggle to replicate. Bukhara, another jewel in Uzbekistan's crown, earned the nickname the Noble and Sublime from medieval Arab scholars who recognized it as one of the great centers of learning in the Islamic world. Walking through its ancient streets today, you'll find that same scholarly tradition alive in the countless conversations that spring up spontaneously in tea houses where philosophy and politics mix with the steam rising from countless cups of green tea. Then there's Khiva, the final major Silk Road city, where the entire historic center has been preserved so perfectly that UNESCO designated it a World Heritage Site. But unlike many preserved historic areas that feel like theme parks, Khiva pulses with real life. Families still live within those ancient walls. Children still play in courtyards that have echoed with laughter for centuries. And the call to prayer still rings out from minarets that have stood since before Columbus set sail. The Soviet period, which lasted from the 1920s to 1991, left its own fascinating imprint on Uzbek culture. Rather than erasing the past, it created a unique fusion that you won't find anywhere else. Soviet-era infrastructure brought education, healthcare, and industrial development, while also preserving many cultural traditions under the umbrella of folk art. This created a society where a grandmother might speak perfect Russian while embroidering traditional Suzani textiles using patterns passed down through generations. Today's Uzbekistan reflects this complex history in every aspect of daily life. The rhythm of the day still follows traditional patterns: early morning prayers, long family breakfasts, afternoon rest periods during the hot summer months, and evening gatherings that can stretch well past midnight. But these ancient rhythms now incorporate modern realities: internet cafes next to centuries-old mosques, traditional craftsmen selling their wares through Instagram, and young Uzbeks who speak 3 languages fluently while maintaining deep respect for traditions their great-grandparents would recognize. Family remains the cornerstone of Uzbek society, but not in the restrictive way many Westerners might imagine. Extended families create support networks that would make any social worker envious. When someone falls ill, loses a job, or faces any crisis, the entire extended family mobilizes resources and support. This isn't just cultural tradition. It's a practical survival strategy that has helped Uzbeks weather centuries of political upheaval and economic uncertainty. The respect for elders goes far beyond mere politeness. Older family members are living libraries of wisdom, tradition, and practical knowledge. In a society where many families still practice traditional crafts, carpet weaving, metalwork, ceramics, embroidery, the elderly serve as master teachers, preserving skills that industrial societies have largely lost. Spending time in an Uzbek household means witnessing this knowledge transfer in action, watching teenagers learn complex techniques while absorbing life lessons embedded in every instruction. The importance of tea in Uzbek culture cannot be overstated. Tea isn't just a beverage. It's a social institution, a diplomatic tool, and almost a religious ritual. The proper way to pour and serve tea involves specific gestures and protocols that carry deep meaning. Refusing tea from a host is not just impolite. It's almost incomprehensible to most Uzbeks. Tea houses serve as informal community centers where news is shared, business is conducted, and friendships are forged over countless small glasses of green tea served with traditional sweets. Bazaars remain the heartbeat of Uzbek commercial and social life. Chorsu Bazaar in Tashkent, with its distinctive blue dome, isn't just a market. It's a daily theater where the ancient art of haggling continues to thrive. But the real magic happens in smaller neighborhood markets, where vendors remember your preferences, where transactions often include lengthy conversations about family and health, and where the concept of customer service means something entirely different from Western commercial relationships. The greeting customs alone reveal the depth of Uzbek social consciousness. The traditional greeting involves placing your right hand over your heart after shaking hands, symbolizing sincerity. Age and status determine who initiates greetings and how formal they should be. These aren't empty gestures. They are expressions of a worldview that prioritizes human relationships above individual achievement or material success. Guest rituals in Uzbekistan can overwhelm unprepared visitors with their generosity. The concept of memongsona, the guest room, means that most families maintain space specifically for entertaining visitors. When invited to someone's home, expect to be offered the best food available, the most comfortable seating, and attention that can feel almost overwhelming to people from more individualistic cultures. Refusing hospitality isn't just rude. It's genuinely hurtful to hosts who view your acceptance as validation of their honor and status. Community values extend far beyond family units. Neighborhood councils, inherited from the Soviet period but reflecting much older traditions of collective decision-making, still play important roles in local governance. These Mahalla committees handle everything from neighborhood beautification to conflict resolution to supporting families in crisis. For expats, understanding and respecting these community structures can mean the difference between remaining an outsider and becoming a welcomed neighbor. The food scene in Uzbekistan represents a cultural crossroads as complex as the country's history. Plov, the national dish, isn't just rice with meat and vegetables. It's a culinary art form with regional variations that spark passionate debates among locals. Samarkand plov differs from Tashkent plov, which differs from Fergana plov, and each family has secret techniques passed down through generations. The preparation often becomes a social event, with men traditionally taking charge of cooking while women prepare side dishes and organize the serving. Samsa, the traditional baked pastry filled with meat or vegetables, represents the fusion of nomadic practicality with settled agricultural abundance. These triangular pastries were originally designed as portable food for travelers, but they've evolved into an art form. The best samsa makers guard their dough recipes jealously, and locals can identify different bakeries by subtle differences in texture and flavor. Lagman, the hand-pulled noodle soup, showcases Chinese influences filtered through Central Asian tastes. Watching a skilled cook pull Lagman noodles is mesmerizing. A single ball of dough transformed into hundreds of perfectly uniform noodles through techniques that take years to master. Each region adds local ingredients to the basic recipe, creating variations that reflect local agricultural traditions and taste preferences. Tandoor bread represents perhaps the purest expression of Uzbek culinary tradition. These clay ovens, built into the ground and heated with wood or coal, create bread with a unique texture and flavor that modern ovens can't replicate. The bread isn't just food, it's sacred. Dropping bread is considered deeply disrespectful, and many families keep bread scraps to feed animals rather than throwing them away. Tea culture in Uzbekistan deserves its own anthropological study. Green tea dominates, served in small glasses or traditional bowls called piala. The brewing process involves specific temperatures, timing, and serving rituals. Tea houses, called choiksona, serve as male social spaces where business deals are negotiated, politics discussed, and friendships maintained. Women have their own tea traditions, often centered around home gatherings that can last entire afternoons. Local cafes have embraced both traditional and modern influences. Soviet-era establishments with their distinctive aesthetics exist alongside modern coffee shops that would fit perfectly in Brooklyn or Berlin. But even the most contemporary cafes typically serve traditional dishes alongside international options, creating dining experiences that reflect Uzbekistan's complex cultural identity. Markets offer food adventures that budget-conscious travelers dream about. Fresh fruits and vegetables cost fractions of Western prices, while maintaining quality and variety that puts many developed countries to shame. Seasonal specialties: melons in summer, persimmons in autumn, citrus fruits in winter, create natural rhythms that connect daily eating to agricultural cycles most urban dwellers have forgotten. The cost of eating well in Uzbekistan can shock budget-conscious travelers. A hearty meal at a local restaurant rarely exceeds $3, while street food can provide satisfying snacks for less than 50 cents. Home cooking becomes even more economical, with fresh ingredients so affordable that eating processed or imported foods often costs more than preparing meals from scratch using traditional methods. Women's roles in Uzbek society reflect the complex intersection of Islamic traditions, Soviet modernization, and contemporary global influences. This isn't a simple story of oppression or liberation. It's a nuanced reality where individual women navigate multiple cultural expectations while pursuing personal goals and family responsibilities. In urban areas like Tashkent, women participate fully in professional life. They serve as doctors, teachers, lawyers, businesswomen, and government officials. University enrollment shows near gender parity, and women often outperform men academically. But these professional achievements exist alongside strong family expectations that emphasize women's roles as wives and mothers. Rural areas maintain more traditional patterns, but even there, changes are evident. Young women increasingly pursue higher education before marriage, and many families now view educated daughters as assets rather than burdens. The shift isn't always smooth, creating generational tensions as daughters navigate expectations their mothers never faced. Dating culture presents particular challenges and opportunities for both locals and expats. Traditional courtship often involves families, with formal introduction processes that can seem antiquated to Western visitors. But urban young people increasingly adopt international dating practices, creating parallel systems where traditional and modern approaches coexist uneasily. For male expats, romantic relationships with local women require cultural sensitivity and genuine respect for family traditions. Many families welcome foreign suitors who demonstrate serious intentions and cultural understanding, but casual dating can create complications that extend far beyond the immediate relationship. Female expats face different challenges, often finding themselves viewed with curiosity and respect for their independence while navigating conservative social expectations about appropriate behavior. Many foreign women report feeling safer in Uzbekistan than in their home countries, but also note the need to dress and behave more conservatively than they might prefer. The contrasts between conservative rural areas and cosmopolitan cities create fascinating cultural dynamics. In villages, traditional gender roles remain largely intact, with women managing households while men handle public affairs. But even rural women often possess business skills and financial independence that might surprise outside observers. Many manage family businesses, control household budgets, and make important family decisions behind the scenes. City life offers more flexibility, but also creates new pressures. Urban women juggle career ambitions with family expectations, often delaying marriage to pursue education or professional goals. This shift creates opportunities, but also social tensions, as traditional timeline expectations collide with modern realities. The marriage institution itself reflects these cultural negotiations. Traditional Uzbek weddings remain elaborate affairs involving extended families and communities, but modern couples increasingly incorporate personal touches that reflect individual preferences alongside cultural requirements. These celebrations can last for days, involve hundreds of guests, and cost significant portions of family savings, but they also reinforce social bonds and cultural continuity. Divorce, while not common, isn't prohibited or socially devastating as it might be in some traditional societies. Women retain rights to property and children, and extended families often provide support during difficult transitions. But social pressure to maintain marriages remains strong, particularly when children are involved. Professional opportunities for women continue expanding, particularly in fields like medicine, education, and business. Many successful female entrepreneurs have built businesses that employ both men and women, challenging traditional authority structures while respecting cultural sensitivities. Festivals and traditions in Uzbekistan provide windows into cultural values that extend far beyond mere entertainment. Navruz, the Persian New Year celebrated on March 21st, represents renewal, hope, and community solidarity. Preparation begins weeks in advance with families cleaning homes, preparing special foods, and renewing social relationships. Navruz celebrations blend Islamic, Persian, and local traditions in ways that reflect Uzbekistan's cultural complexity. The festival includes ritual foods like sumalak, a sweet paste made from wheat sprouts, traditional games, music performances, and community gatherings that reinforce social bonds. For visitors, Navruz offers unprecedented access to family traditions and community celebrations usually hidden from outside observers. Wedding ceremonies represent perhaps the most elaborate expressions of Uzbek cultural identity. These aren't simple one-day events. They're extended celebrations that can span weeks and involve entire communities. Traditional elements include elaborate bridal clothing, specific musical performances, ritual foods, and ceremonial exchanges that strengthen relationships between families. The clothing alone tells cultural stories. Bridal dresses often incorporate traditional textiles like ikat silk and hand-embroidered details that represent regional styles and family traditions. Male wedding attire includes traditional robes and hats that vary by region and social status. These aren't costumes. They're expressions of cultural identity maintained across generations. Music and dance during celebrations showcase the region's artistic heritage. Traditional instruments like the dutar, rubab, and duira create soundscapes that connect contemporary celebrations to centuries of cultural development. Dance styles incorporate Persian elegance, Turkic energy, and local innovations that reflect Uzbekistan's position at the crossroads of civilizations. Wedding rituals themselves involve complex negotiations between families, communities, and individual preferences. Gift exchanges, ceremonial meals, and formal presentations serve multiple purposes beyond entertainment. They establish social relationships, demonstrate family status, and create obligations that strengthen community bonds. Religious celebrations blend Islamic requirements with local customs in ways that create uniquely Uzbek expressions of faith. Ramadan observances include traditional elements found throughout the Islamic world, but also incorporate local foods, music, and community practices that reflect regional culture. Harvest festivals celebrate agricultural abundance while maintaining spiritual significance. These celebrations often involve entire villages or neighborhoods, creating opportunities for visitors to witness authentic cultural expressions rarely accessible to tourists. New Year celebrations reflect Soviet influences alongside traditional elements, creating hybrid festivals that demonstrate how cultures adapt and evolve. Russian Orthodox Christmas, Islamic holidays, and Uzbek seasonal celebrations often overlap, creating complex calendars of observances that keep communities connected to multiple cultural traditions. The cost of living in Uzbekistan represents one of the world's best-kept secrets for budget-conscious travelers and expats seeking high-quality lifestyles at minimal expense. $600 monthly does not just provide basic survival. It enables comfortable middle-class living with amenities that would cost thousands in Western cities. Housing costs provide the foundation for this affordability. In Tashkent, a decent one-bedroom apartment in a good neighborhood typically rents for $150 to $250 monthly. These aren't student hovels. They're genuine apartments with kitchens, bathrooms, and often balconies or terraces. Many include basic furnishings, making immediate occupancy possible without major investments. Smaller cities offer even greater value, with comparable apartments available for $80 to $150 monthly. Samarkand, Bukhara, and other historic cities provide the added benefit of living within walking distance of UNESCO World Heritage Sites while maintaining modern amenities and internet connectivity suitable for remote work. Utilities rarely exceed $30 to $50 monthly, even during extreme weather periods. Electricity, gas, water, and internet combine to create predictable monthly expenses that leave substantial budget remaining for other necessities and entertainment. Food costs can shock newcomers with their affordability and quality. Restaurant meals provide exceptional value, with local establishments serving traditional dishes for $2.50 per person. Even upscale restaurants catering to international tastes rarely charge more than $15 to $20 for elaborate meals with multiple courses. Street food offers satisfying meals and snacks for under $1, making eating out affordable for daily dining rather than special occasions. Transportation costs remain minimal throughout Uzbekistan. Tashkent's metro system charges approximately 15 cents per ride, providing access to architectural marvels while moving efficiently across the city. Buses and shared taxis offer intercity travel at comparable rates, making weekend exploration financially accessible. Healthcare expenses surprise many expats with their affordability and quality. Basic medical consultations cost $10 to $20, while dental work and minor surgical procedures cost fractions of Western rates. Many doctors received training during the Soviet period or in European institutions, providing competent care at developing world prices. Entertainment and leisure activities maintain this pattern of exceptional value. Movie tickets cost $2-3, museum admissions rarely exceed $1-2, and cultural performances typically charge $5 or $10 for excellent seats. Gym memberships, spa treatments, and recreational activities provide first-world amenities at third-world prices. Digital nomads find particular value in Uzbekistan's combination of low costs and improving infrastructure. High-speed internet reaches most urban areas. Co-working spaces offer professional environments, and the time zone advantages facilitate business with European, Asian, and Middle Eastern clients. Monthly expenses that might cover basic survival in Western cities enable comfortable lifestyles with significant savings potential. Budget allocation becomes more about choices than constraints. After covering housing, utilities, food, and transportation, typically totaling $300 to $400 monthly, substantial funds remain for travel, entertainment, savings, or luxury purchases. This economic freedom enables lifestyle experiments impossible in high-cost environments. Comparison with other popular expat destinations reveals Uzbekistan's exceptional value proposition. While Thailand, Portugal, or Mexico require $1,000 to $2,000 monthly for comparable lifestyles, Uzbekistan delivers similar or superior experiences at half the cost. The trade-offs involve language barriers, cultural adjustments, and reduced international connectivity, but the financial advantages often outweigh these challenges. Long-term financial planning becomes realistic in ways impossible for many Western residents. The ability to maintain comfortable lifestyles while saving significant percentages of income creates opportunities for investment, business development, or early retirement that high-cost living environments prohibit. Transportation in Uzbekistan showcases the fascinating intersection of Soviet efficiency, Central Asian practicality, and modern innovation. The country's infrastructure tells stories of political changes, economic priorities, and cultural values through systems that move millions of people daily while maintaining distinctly Uzbek characteristics. Tashkent's metro system stands as perhaps the most beautiful subway network most travelers have never heard of. Built during the Soviet era with typical communist attention to grandeur and artistic expression, each station represents unique architectural and artistic themes. Kosmonauter Station celebrates space exploration with cosmic motifs, while Alisher Navoy Station honors Uzbek literary heritage with elaborate decorations incorporating traditional patterns and modern interpretations. The metro operates with Swiss-like precision despite its affordable fares. Trains arrive punctually, stations remain impeccably clean, and the entire system maintains operational efficiency that puts many Western transit systems to shame. For visitors, riding the Tashkent Metro is not just transportation, it's cultural education through architectural art and social observation. Shared taxis represent distinctly Central Asian transportation solutions. These aren't private rides. They are informal public transit systems where drivers collect passengers heading in similar directions, creating economic efficiency and social interaction opportunities. Understanding shared taxi etiquette requires cultural sensitivity, but mastering the system provides access to affordable transportation and authentic local experiences. Intercity buses connect major destinations with surprising comfort and reliability. Modern coaches equipped with air conditioning, comfortable seating, and sometimes Wi-Fi traverse highways that showcase Uzbekistan's diverse landscapes. These journeys become cultural experiences as passengers share food, conversations, and travel tips during longer routes. The railway system preserves Soviet-era efficiency while incorporating modern improvements. High-speed trains between major cities provide comfortable travel at reasonable prices, while slower regional services offer opportunities to interact with local passengers and observe rural landscapes. Overnight trains include sleeping compartments that transform long-distance travel into affordable accommodations combined with transportation. Domestic flights connect distant regions efficiently, though they're primarily useful for reaching remote areas rather than major tourist destinations. Uzbekistan Airways maintains reasonable safety standards and pricing, making air travel accessible for longer distances or time-constrained itineraries. Urban transportation in smaller cities relies heavily on buses, shared taxis, and increasingly ride-sharing services that operate through local apps. These systems reflect regional characteristics while maintaining functional efficiency that keeps cities moving despite limited infrastructure investments. Walking remains viable in historic city centers, where centuries-old urban planning creates pedestrian-friendly environments. Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva offer experiences where foot travel provides optimal access to historical sites while enabling spontaneous interactions with locals and unexpected discoveries. Bicycle usage varies significantly by region and season. Some areas embrace cycling as practical transportation, while others view it primarily as recreation or exercise. Understanding local attitudes toward cycling helps visitors choose appropriate transportation methods for different situations. The rental car option exists but requires careful consideration of local driving customs, road conditions, and bureaucratic requirements. International licenses work for short visits, but longer stays might require local permits and insurance arrangements that can complicate independent travel. Traffic patterns reflect cultural values around time, relationships, and social hierarchy. Rush hours exist but feel less frantic than Western equivalents, with drivers showing patience and courtesy that mirrors broader social values. Horn usage serves communication rather than aggression, creating urban soundscapes that feel energetic rather than stressful. Parking availability and costs remain negligible concerns in most areas, providing another small but significant quality of life advantage over major international cities. This accessibility makes car ownership or rental more practical for visitors who prefer independent transportation. Public transportation social dynamics offer cultural learning opportunities for observant travelers. Seat-giving customs, conversation patterns, and interaction protocols reflect deeper social values about respect, community, and interpersonal relationships. Uzbekistan's attractions extend far beyond its famous Silk Road cities, encompassing natural wonders, architectural marvels, and cultural experiences that could occupy curious travelers for months. The country's tourism infrastructure remains refreshingly underdeveloped, meaning visitors often have these incredible sights largely to themselves. Samarkand's Registan represents perhaps Central Asia's most iconic architectural ensemble. These three madrasas, arranged around a central square, demonstrate Islamic architecture at its mathematical and artistic peak. But the real magic happens during different times of day, when changing light transforms the blue tiles into shifting kaleidoscopes of color and shadow. Early morning visits provide photography opportunities without crowds, while evening illumination creates almost surreal beauty. The Shah-e-Zinda necropolis in Samarkand offers intimate encounters with medieval Islamic art and architecture. This avenue of mausoleums contains some of the finest tile work and architectural details in the Islamic world, but its narrow passages and varied structures create personal experiences impossible in larger, more famous sites. Local legends and historical facts blend seamlessly, creating narratives that bring ancient stones to life. Bukhara's old city operates as a living museum where daily life continues within architectural frameworks established over centuries. The Kalyan minaret, built in 1127, still calls faithful to prayer while serving as a navigation landmark for visitors exploring the maze of streets, madrasas, and covered bazaars that make up this UNESCO World Heritage Site. Khiva's Ichan Kala represents urban preservation at its most complete. The entire inner city exists within walls that have protected residents for over a millennium, creating an environment where historical imagination becomes unnecessary. Visitors simply walk through living history while observing contemporary life adapted to ancient urban planning. The Aral Sea represents environmental tragedy, but also offers otherworldly landscapes that attract adventurous travelers. The ship graveyards and salt flats create surreal photographic opportunities while providing sobering education about human environmental impact. Reaching the Aral Sea requires commitment and planning, but the experience provides perspectives on environmental issues impossible to gain elsewhere. Fergana Valley showcases Uzbekistan's agricultural abundance and traditional craft industries. This fertile region produces some of Central Asia's finest textiles, ceramics, and metalwork using techniques passed down through generations. Villages throughout the valley welcome visitors interested in observing traditional production methods and purchasing authentic handicrafts directly from artisans. The Nuratau Kizilkum Biosphere Reserve protects ecosystems that support endangered species while providing ecotourism opportunities for nature enthusiasts. Desert landscapes, mountain regions, and rare wildlife create experiences that contrast dramatically with Uzbekistan's urban attractions while demonstrating the country's environmental diversity. Tashkent itself deserves extended exploration beyond its role as a transportation hub. Soviet-era architecture, modern developments, and traditional neighborhoods create urban experiences that reflect Uzbekistan's complex recent history. The Earthquake Museum, Independence Monuments, and contemporary art scene provide insights into national identity formation during post-Soviet transitions. Natural hot springs throughout the country offer relaxation opportunities combined with scenic beauty. These sites often include basic accommodation and dining facilities, creating affordable retreat experiences that combine health benefits with tourism adventure. Mountain regions near borders with Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan provide hiking, camping, and cultural experiences with minority ethnic groups whose traditions differ from mainstream Uzbek culture. These areas require special permits and local guides, but offer authentic encounters with nomadic lifestyles and pristine natural environments. Lesser-known historical sites throughout Uzbekistan reward curious travelers willing to venture beyond standard tourist circuits. Ancient fortresses, archaeological sites, and regional museums contain treasures that rival more famous attractions while providing intimate experiences impossible at crowded destinations. Seasonal considerations dramatically impact attraction, accessibility, and appeal. Spring and autumn provide optimal weather for outdoor exploration, while summer heat makes air-conditioned museums and shaded architectural sites more appealing. Winter transforms landscapes and creates unique photographic opportunities, though some remote areas become inaccessible. Safety in Uzbekistan consistently surprises visitors who arrive expecting challenges based on regional stereotypes or incomplete media coverage. The reality involves crime rates lower than most Western cities, helpful police forces, and social structures that prioritize visitor security and community reputation. Petty crime exists but remains minimal, particularly violent crime against tourists or expats. Pickpocketing and theft occur occasionally in crowded markets or tourist areas, but using basic precautions eliminates most risks. Local attitudes toward guests mean that many Uzbeks feel personally responsible for visitor safety and will intervene if they observe potential problems. Police interactions typically prove positive for law-abiding visitors. Officers often speak some English or Russian, understand tourism's importance to the economy, and generally approach foreigners with curiosity rather than suspicion. Carrying proper identification documents prevents complications, and understanding basic protocols eliminates potential misunderstandings. Healthcare availability varies significantly between urban and rural areas, but major cities maintain medical facilities capable of handling most health issues visitors might encounter. Private clinics in Tashkent provide care equivalent to Western standards at affordable prices, while rural areas offer basic medical services adequate for minor problems. Pharmacies stock most common medications, though bringing prescription drugs with proper documentation prevents complications. Many pharmacists received training during the Soviet period and maintain professional competencies, making basic medical consultations possible for minor health issues. Emergency services function adequately in urban areas, though response times and equipment might not match Western standards. Learning basic emergency numbers and understanding local protocols provides peace of mind, particularly for solo travelers or those with specific medical conditions. Women's safety deserves special mention, as cultural factors create different risk profiles than those common in Western societies. Sexual harassment and assault rates remain low, and traditional values emphasizing protection of women mean that local men often intervene if they observe inappropriate behavior toward female visitors. Traffic safety requires attention, as driving customs and road conditions differ from Western norms. Pedestrian awareness prevents most problems, while understanding local traffic patterns helps visitors navigate urban environments safely. Rural roads might present challenges during adverse weather, but normal conditions allow safe travel with appropriate caution. Food safety follows standard developing world precautions. Drinking bottled water, eating hot food, and choosing busy restaurants with high turnover reduces risks of digestive issues. Most visitors experience no food-related problems, and traditional Uzbek cooking methods often provide fresher, healthier meals than processed Western alternatives. Natural disaster risks remain minimal, though earthquakes occasionally occur. Most buildings in major cities meet earthquake safety standards, and emergency protocols exist for significant events. Weather-related dangers are typically seasonal and predictable, allowing appropriate preparation for extreme temperatures or rare severe storms. Education systems reflect Soviet legacies adapted to contemporary needs and national priorities. Universities in major cities maintain academic standards suitable for international students, while language barriers pose the primary challenges for foreign enrollment. Many faculty members speak Russian or English, facilitating communication for motivated students. International schools serve expatriate families in Tashkent and other major cities, though options remain limited compared to more established expat destinations. These institutions typically follow British or American curricula while incorporating local cultural elements, creating educational experiences that balance international standards with regional awareness. Language learning opportunities abound for visitors interested in acquiring Uzbek or Russian skills. University programs, private tutoring, and informal conversation exchanges provide multiple pathways for linguistic development. Many locals appreciate foreign efforts to learn their languages and offer patient assistance with pronunciation and grammar. Professional development opportunities exist primarily in fields related to international business, education, and development work. The growing economy creates demands for expertise in technology, finance, and management. Though language skills often determine advancement possibilities for foreign professionals, visa requirements continue evolving as Uzbekistan modernizes tourism policies and international relationships. Many nationalities now enjoy visa-free entry for short visits, while e-visa systems simplify longer stays. Requirements change periodically, making current information essential for travel planning. Language barriers present manageable challenges for most visitors. Russian serves as lingua franca in urban areas, while English usage increases among younger generations and tourism professionals. Basic phrase learning demonstrates cultural respect and often elicits helpful responses from locals who appreciate foreign efforts to communicate. Currency systems include both official and unofficial exchange rates, though recent reforms have largely eliminated black market premiums. ATMs operate throughout major cities, and credit card acceptance increases in tourist-oriented businesses. Cash remains king for most transactions, particularly in markets and rural areas. Internet connectivity reaches international standards in urban areas, with 4G coverage and Wi-Fi availability in most hotels, cafes, and public spaces. Digital nomads find adequate infrastructure for remote work, though backup connectivity plans help manage occasional service interruptions. Banking services accommodate foreign visitors through international partnerships and modern systems. Opening local accounts requires documentation and residency proof, but international cards work reliably for most transactions and ATM withdrawals. Time zone considerations benefit business travelers and digital nomads working with European or Middle Eastern clients. Uzbekistan's position creates convenient scheduling opportunities for international communications while maintaining reasonable working hours. Cultural adaptation strategies smooth integration for longer-term visitors. Learning greeting customs, understanding hospitality expectations, and respecting religious observances creates positive relationships with local communities. Patience with different social rhythms and business practices prevents frustration while enabling authentic cultural experiences. Housing options for longer stays range from hotel apartments to private rentals, with increasing availability through international platforms. Local real estate agents assist with property searches, though Russian or Uzbek language skills expedite negotiations and contract processes. Work permit requirements apply to most employment situations, though recent reforms have simplified some business visa categories. Consulting current regulations and working with local legal assistance prevents complications for those seeking extended stays or business establishment. Shopping opportunities blend traditional crafts with modern consumer goods. Silk production, carpet weaving, ceramics, and metalwork maintain artistic standards while providing authentic souvenirs. Modern shopping centers in major cities stock international brands alongside local products, creating retail environments that serve both residents and visitors. Uzbekistan rewards visitors who approach it with curiosity, respect, and openness to experiences that challenge assumptions about Central Asia, Islam, and post-Soviet societies. This isn't a destination for travelers seeking familiar comforts or predictable experiences. It's a country that offers authentic encounters with living history, genuine hospitality, and cultural richness that $600 monthly can unlock in ways that would cost thousands elsewhere. The true magic of Uzbekistan lies not in any single attraction or experience, but in the accumulation of daily moments that reveal a society balancing ancient wisdom with modern aspirations. Morning calls to prayer echo across cities where young entrepreneurs launch technology startups. Grandmothers are teaching traditional embroidery techniques to granddaughters who study international business. Markets where haggling follows protocols established centuries ago, conducted by vendors who accept mobile payments alongside traditional cash negotiations. For those willing to embrace uncertainty, learn basic language skills, and approach cultural differences with humility rather than judgment, Uzbekistan offers something increasingly rare in our connected world: the opportunity to experience authentic otherness while discovering surprising commonalities that unite human experiences across cultural boundaries. Comment below if you're ready to trade your expensive lifestyle for authentic cultural immersion in one of the world's last great undiscovered destinations. Uzbekistan is waiting, with $600 budgets, ancient cities, and hospitality that will fundamentally change how you think about travel, community, and what constitutes a life well lived.